Hello and welcome to Junior Achievement's virtual speaker series. Today we're going to be talking about what makes a great resume stand out. Our guest today is Cici Krempler, and Cici is the Assistant Director of Human Resources at the City of Lauderhill. Thank you, Cici, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you. And this is such an important topic for our students right now. So I just wondered if you could answer a question. What makes a resume stand out?
So I see a lot of them, and believe it or not, resume writing and resume reading is one of my favorite things to talk about, and my favorite things to go through and improve over time. They are extremely important for jobs. I think a lot of people have this misconception that as long as I have all this information on one sheet of paper, I'm good. That's all I need. That what makes a resume stand out to me is not only the time that you put into it. You can tell that somebody's put time into it, that their information's on there, that it is correct, their grammar, their punctuation's correct, there's no misspellings on your resumes. I can't tell you how many resumes I've read and something's misspelled, and it's so essential to your job that it's like, oh, I wonder if they actually know what that's like. And I know that you're doing this on a Word document. So Word is underlining that something's misspelled. So please pay attention to those things, making sure that sentences are complete. I know that before it was just kind of like you're just putting little things here and there, but make sure your sentences are complete on your bullet points. Other things that I look at that make a resume stand out is the structure and how you put it, how you lay it out. People have gotten so creative with how they do resumes now, and I love it. I think it's absolutely amazing. I will say I'm not too much of a fan of the pictures. So I probably would veer away from the pictures, but definitely like the picture of yourself, but definitely the structuring it a little bit different than you would see a normal resume. So I would go into Google and find a template that is different, that looks different than everybody else's. I've seen some that are actually supposed to be flyers, and they've turned them into resumes, and I think that is awesome. That totally makes your resume stand out. Actually, one of the best resumes I ever saw was a flyer that was turned into a resume, and I thought that was very clever, very cool. You still found a way to put your name, your email address, your address on there. These are important things that you need to put on there. Your education, your training, any sort of job experience that you have, even if you don't think it's related. And another thing that I would say is take a look at the job description for that position that you're applying to, and try to correlate some of your qualities, your traits, and some of the experience you've already gained, even if it's not in a similar job. Try to correlate those together, because employers look at that and they're like, you know what? Yeah, that's awesome. I never thought that customer service at a maybe a supermarket would equate to being able to be a finance, be in finance and do customer service and finance. So there are so many more things that relate and correlate from our first jobs that we had to the jobs we end up at. And I think that's amazing. You just need to make sure that you're correlating those traits and the things that they're looking for in your job that you're aspiring to get with the job and the traits and skills that you've already learned in the jobs that you've had, or even internships, or even volunteer work that you've done. Any of that, all of that is so important, and all of that actually really matters. You just have to find a way to connect it.
I think that's a great point you made, that the students first have to look at the job description or research the job they're applying for, because sometimes we have to tweak our resumes for that particular job.
Yes, and I absolutely would always do that. Another thing that I recommend is always tweak your resume for a specific job that you're looking for. Always. Don't just have a generic resume and send that out to everybody. Please make it specific to the job that you're looking for, as well as your cover letter. I would suggest writing a cover letter for absolutely every job that you're applying to, and it should be very specific to that. The first line in my cover letter speaks to the job that I'm applying to. So it needs to be something that is specific to that job. Don't make it a very generic, something that people just know that you've just, I once had somebody tell me, it was actually a student, say to me, you know what, I've applied to like 100 jobs. I've actually kept a spreadsheet of them. And I haven't gotten a call back. And I'm like, well, are you using the same resume and cover letter for each of those jobs? Yeah, I just sent out a generic well, that could be the reason why. They could tell, people can tell that you're not really looking for this particular job or this specific job. And also they can tell that you're not really looking at the job description. You're not really looking at the requirements of the job and what it takes to actually fulfill that job. And that's the first step that you need to take, is do some research on that job. Do I have what it takes? And if you're not sure, give them a call. Call the human resources department. I get those calls and I love them. I think it shows so much more initiative when you call in and say, hey, this is who I am. This is the experience that I have. This is what I'm aspiring to be. I see that you have this position open. Do you think I qualify? Let me talk you through my years of experience. Let me talk you through. And that's awesome. You're showing initiative. You're showing that, you care enough to even take that extra step to take a call. So I think that's a big deal. Definitely.
Perfect. Now, if our students don't have a lot of work experience, what else could they put on their resume?
Volunteer work is amazing. Volunteer work is definitely something that you could always relate back to jobs. That shows that you've taken the initiative to do something, sometimes that you're passionate about, sometimes you're not necessarily passionate about, but you've taken your own time to do this and have not gotten paid for it. Or internships. I think that's always something that you can put on your resume. But also, like, if you belong to a club or if you belong to an organization, you do things in those organizations and in those clubs that could absolutely relate to what you are doing in this job. So please make sure you put those things on there. Try to, if you don't have real work experience, these are the things that you should be filling your resume with. Or, hey, I'm president or vice president, or I'm a member of this organization, and this is what we do. This is how we, and I think that absolutely fills that void.
Wonderful. This is great advice, Cici. Thank you so much. I know our students are going to go away and make these resumes so creative and write their cover letters. So yes. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate this.
You are so welcome. Thank you. And it's my honor.